Okay, some talk about Tyranids, some ideas that have come up to me since I've been playing, and I know if you see my most recent two battle reports, I lose both of them, and that's not necessarily bad. It doesn't necessarily mean that Tyranids are hopeless, and actually losing sometimes helps you realize things you've done wrong, or come up with some new strategies. So here's one I noticed that's a change from the previous codex, and it has some utility. If you take a Hive Tyrant, and granted almost everyone's going to take them with wings, but this works when you take them with wings also. You can take Tyrant Guard. So these guys used to be, they used to be one of the units that a Hive Tyrant could join as if he was an independent character. But in the old codex, he couldn't really leave the unit. Now, that doesn't appear to be the case, and you can take these for a pretty cheap price. I mean, they're not an expensive unit just to take one of them. So, what's a use for them? Well, early in the game, let's say you have a winged Hive Tyrant or a Hive Tyrant on foot, or the Swarm Lord, then these guards can suck up wounds for them. And, you might ask, alright, why would I take it with a winged Hive Tyrant? Well, half the games you're probably not going first, and so that winged Hive Tyrant is on the ground, he's going to get shot. And he might actually die round one. He's a high priority target. If you take the Tyrant Guard, they always pass their Lookout Sir rolls. And he can join them as if he's an independent character. That's all it says, which means he can leave them just like he's an independent character. So what would you do? You could take one Tyrant Guard, and you can, even if you run two Hive Tyrants, let's say you run one on foot and one in the air, or two winged Hive Tyrants, or 2 foot Hive Tyrants, or Swarm Lord and a winged guy, hey, you can put them on the board, and you can put that Hive Tyrant Guard behind them. He always passes Lookout Sir rolls. Why do you put him behind them? Because you might choose which rolls you want to save on. Maybe you don't want him to take all the wounds. Maybe you want him to be able to spread some wounds out. If he's in front, he's not a character. So the Hive Tyrant can't roll Lookout Sir on the guard. But since the guard always passes, put him behind those Tyrants, and you can decide how to allocate the wounds. You could keep 2 models alive longer that way. It does make them more survivable, certainly round 1. Also, if these guys are running across the board, they do have feed, so they might chew each other up if you have more than one of them. But let's say they're moving across the board, and they're either in or out of synapse. It's not going to matter for the demonstration. And you have a winged Hive Tyrant. As long as he finishes, or a ground foot Hive Tyrant, but if he finishes within 2 inches of them, in his movement phase or their movement phase, they become a unit. This would even apply if he deep struck and was a winged Hive Tyrant. So deep striking is on the movement phase. Interceptor is at the end of the movement phase. So if you deep strike a winged Hive Tyrant next to a Tyrant Guard, they become a single unit. This guy always passes his Lookout Sir. And because of that, you could keep your winged guy in the air. Matter of fact, you could decide that hits. He didn't even get hit, I think, if you Lookout Sir. I'm not quite sure how that would apply, but it's an interesting little ploy. You can use these guards to shift wounds around. I think one of the keys to remember is you want to keep the guard behind the Hive Tyrant for many of the shots, so that you can spread the wounds as you wish. Since if he's in the back, he can always pass the Lookout Sir, but maybe there's a wound you don't want him to take for some reason, and then you spread it that way. So, interesting change in the codex and a little hint for playing them.